Hey, what's up, everybody? Pat here, grateful recovering alcoholic and addict, just like every day. Guys, please don't forget to subscribe, leave the video a like, please drop me a comment, and by all means, share it with anybody you think might get something out of it. Other than that, how we all doing today, guys? It's a very sad Monday here in Boston. My Patriots got their asses handed to them last night, and you know what? I'm not going to be a typical ridiculous fan. Congratulations to the Seahawks. They were by far the superior team. Their defense had one of the best game plans I've ever seen in my life. We couldn't do a damn thing, and I'm okay with that. Honestly, I'm incredibly proud of my Patriots for the 1 year turnaround. Vrabel is an amazing coach. We have an amazing young quarterback. We got a great team, and I'm looking forward to the future with it. And I'm proud of what they accomplished, and I say that just because guys, like, that's how you live life and appreciate good things. Like, the Patriots had an absolutely miraculous season, so they didn't win the Super Bowl. They didn't play. They didn't deserve to win the Super Bowl, and I'm not taking it against them. They did it. They had an amazing year. Seahawks were by far the better team last night, and it was sad. It was not the most joyous game to watch, but it was It was still at the same time. It was a hell of a football game, and I did stay up late watching the game last night, so I did sleep in, and of course, I didn't schedule any work this morning for that reason. First thing this morning, I slept until about 9 o'clock and got up, and when it's particularly really cold out, I try to stay in bed a little bit because it's just, hey, nobody wants you knocking on their door at 7 o'clock in the morning, and it's just so damn nasty cold out. Mondays are always my off day at the gym, so I like to stay in bed till about 9 o'clock on Monday, and I did so today, and I went out and had an absolutely fantastic, very productive day. Great mood. Yeah, I mean, life is just, guys, life can be so good when you allow it to be. And one of the things I try to prove that on a daily basis by promoting kindness, by trying to be helpful, trying to engage. And today was one of those days where I got a number of calls for people that didn't want to do, not even stuff that I do in my business, but like people I know whose vehicles are breaking down. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? Like, I used to drive me crazy. And I just told them, like, listen, I'm incredibly busy. I don't have time to come lay in a puddle of water and change a starter on the side of the road. Like, you, just like anybody else, is going to have it towed to a garage and have it fixed. Like, I'm not responsible for being the hero in everybody's life. I'm only responsible to be the hero in my life. And I do try to help as many others around, but I also know my limits, and that's part of why I'm happy today, because I do put up proper boundaries and I don't let things overwhelm me, right? And in order to finally do that, I had to have some self acceptance of who I am, what I'm capable of, what matters to me. And until I could accept any of those things, I couldn't start acting in a way that promotes my own health and vitality. And since I have, life has gotten so much better. So that's what we're going to talk about today, guys. Self acceptance. It's incredibly important. Now, let me start this by saying self acceptance doesn't mean you just don't try to get better. But we got to accept where we are realistically before we can start making positive changes. And I obviously am promoting positive changes. It's what my life is all about, and I'm incredibly blessed for it. So, self acceptance, guys. It's the Just for Today NA meditation topic. Self acceptance. When we accept ourselves, we can accept others into our lives unconditionally, probably for the first time. From our earliest memories, many of us felt like we never belonged. No matter how big the gathering, we always felt apart from the crowd. We had a hard time fitting in. Deep down, we believed that if we really let others get to know us, they would reject us. Perhaps our addiction began to germinate in this climate of self-centeredness. Many of us hid the pain of our alienation with an attitude of defiance. In effect, we told the world, you don't need me? Well, I don't need any of you either. I've got my drugs and I can take care of myself. Sounds awfully familiar. The further our addiction progressed, the higher the walls we built around ourselves. Well, those walls begin to fall when we start finding acceptance from other recovering addicts. With this acceptance from others, we begin to learn the important principle of self-acceptance. And when we accept ourselves, we can allow others to take part in our lives without fear of rejection. And the affirmation is just for today. I'm accepted in recovery. I fit in. It is safe to start letting others into my life. And guys, like I'm not overly proud to admit that reading pertained very, like seemed like it was written specifically for me in my former life. I had never accepted myself, and therefore I felt like I didn't fit in. First of all, I always felt like I didn't fit in because I hadn't bothered to find things out, right? But because I had that insecurity, and again, we all do, guys. We all have insecurities and fears, and feel like we fall short in life. We're human, and we're all going to, right? You don't have to let those places run your life. Now, if excuse me, if you are running around scamming and taking advantage and trying to get ahead by stepping on the toes or the nose or the face of anybody else, then yeah, you've got some work to do, right? And you shouldn't accept those behaviors. For me, I wasn't perfect. I was doing a lot of things wrong, but most of the abuse that I was handing out was put right on my own back. Not to say that I didn't manipulate and take advantage, because I absolutely did. Let me make that perfectly clear. Living a life in addiction forced me to not be able to look and pay attention to anything. I couldn't accept, because again, I talked about this the other day. I had to stop smoking weed because when I get high, it would slow my mind down enough that I'd start looking at the stuff that I was doing, realizing how many different variables could easily come crashing in at every moment, and I'd just be overwhelmed with panic. And I don't have that problem today, guys. And as a matter of fact, I make it a daily habit of taking a personal inventory to look at my actions, my thoughts, my feelings, my just the way I interacted with my community. Did I have a good day? What did I do particularly today that worked really well, and how can I incorporate that into tomorrow? And these simple actions, I mean, think about it. That is not that complicated, right? Well, for once in my life, actually doing so and doing so consistently has allowed me to then step further and reach higher every day. Nothing drastic. I'm not out here changing the world and reinventing myself every single day. I have gone, in the beginning, I went back to basics, and I cut out everything because I had to, because I had filled my life with noise. And in that noise, you can't think and hear and meditate and pray and get anywhere. And thank you, God, for making me aware of that point early on, so that I did cut out the noise and learn to sit with self. And guys, it took a minute to get comfortable in that quiet, right, in that stillness. But in that stillness is where I've made all of the revelations, the realizations of what was working, what wasn't, why I was doing the things I did. And as I go deeper and I share honestly, and again, I had a lot of help: therapists, recovery advisor, recovery coach, my AA group, my NA group, my doctors at the OBAC clinic. Like I opened myself up to criticism and constructive criticism in a lot of areas. Now, guys, at the same time, as I started doing these things and making better strides, there were a lot of people that were still in my life who were criticizing me because they didn't like misery loves company, guys, right? But you know what? Like doing good things loves an audience, and that's what I chose to focus on. So as anybody around me would try to drag me back down, I'd realize that they were doing bad things, and they didn't like seeing me shine because it was shining light on their insecurities. And I'm like, that's fine. I'm not here to make anybody do anything. I offered a hand and a path to light the way for anybody who wanted to come with me. But you know what? Not many did, and that's okay. So I took the leap of faith and emptied out that space in my life, knowing that God would fill it. And it didn't happen overnight. Like, here we are, 13 months later, and I'm just starting to see that I do have a community around me. I am finding my tribe, as they say. And I love that, right? I get to talk to a lot of people. Some are customers, some are friends from AA, NA, whatever. Just good people. My family being back in my life, my brothers and my sister in my life every day. My life is being filled up with great, beautiful things. My business is expanding, so I'm putting a lot of time and effort into that because I'm on the fast track to doing everything that I never could do for 40 years. Is just working beautifully today because I've removed my insecurities, my ineptness, my mistakes from the equation, and I do so by following this simple program. Again, it's not an easy program. There was a lot of really hard things, and there was a lot of second guessing, and there was a lot of stutter stepping, starting, nope, this doesn't feel right, let me back up again. But that's okay, because as I did so, I learned what worked and what didn't, right? And I started to focus on what did, and I expanded and leaned into those things. And as I did so, I started getting a confidence about my ability to make positive decisions. And that's the one thing I would have told you swapping down. There was something wrong with me. I literally thought I had some mental defect that didn't allow me to see what others were seeing. No, it's because my eyes were closed. Like, there you go. Like, it's not rocket science here, guys. But you gotta keep your eyes open, you gotta keep your ears open, and on occasion shut your mouth so that you can hear and see what's going on around you. And that's what I was doing. That's what I was not doing. I was just I was allowing my life to stay so loud and noisy that I didn't pay attention to anything that actually mattered. And then I would get frustrated and wonder why nothing ever worked. And yet, and on top of that, I was spending every dime and every minute of my waking days chasing drugs, and no sooner that I get them and I do them, they be gone, and I have to go do it again. Like, talk about rinse and repeat. Like, just misery. And that's okay. My point being is, I finally for once found the beauty in surrender, learned to follow through, and as I did these things, I started seeing there was good in me. I accepted, and I accepted early on that yes, I had defects of character and I had strengths of character. So let me focus and separate the two so I could start working on my defects of character and leaning on my strengths of character. And again, this program has taught me how to do so. Every day I do a video on a reading in a lesson, and I see how it applies. And the things that I like, I multiply. I do them more. Like, yesterday blew my mind. And that's one of the things, like, I have bought into the higher power because I understand there are things that I've done in this last year that I am absolutely not capable of doing on my own. So I invited God, my higher power, into my life. Call yours what you will. You know, when I say God, I'm not going to get into it. I'm not talking about the gray-haired man in the clouds. No, I'm talking about the underlying energy, the laws of everything that rule, govern, and create this beautiful universe that we live in, that gives us the opportunity, right? And everybody likes to say, well, if there's such a loving God, then what this, that? No, there's also free will, and there's just life. Like, life can be a painful thing, but it doesn't have to be an always painful thing. Like, yes, there's going to be ebbs and flows. Accept that. There's going to be seasons. There's going to be good feelings, bad feelings. Like, that's how there is. And if you're going to get hung up on, but also understand that we attract and we create more of what we focus on. So I've chosen to focus, and I believe that wholeheartedly. And I'm pretty sure if anybody watching my life of this last 13 months can't deny it, because I've chosen to focus on the positivity, and no longer be like, okay, I woke up with a sore knee, I'm mad at the universe, God is punishing me. No, like, I overdid something, I strained something, and now I have pain in my body to let me know that I've injured myself, and I now need to treat that and be careful of that and nurse that back to health. And that's one of the things I was impossible for me to do when I was numbing myself with pain medication day in and day out. How in God's name am I going to notice the pain that I have and then let it heal if I'm so numb from medication that, never mind that I was living a life not sleeping, not eating. Like, how am I going to heal from anything? I was withering away. But again, and that's okay. Right? That was my path. That was the evidence of my decisions. That was the consequences of my actions, of my decisions, right? But the minute I chose to start doing better because I wanted better, I started getting better. Like, I mean, I know I'm breaking it down into incredibly simple terms, but guys, it works. It's the reality of it. And because I saw the strength in that, I've chosen to focus on the positive, to look for the opportunity as opposed to the punishment and everything, and realize that when things aren't going my way, either it's not the right time for it, I'm not coming at it the right way, or I'm looking for something that's not a logical next step. And so as I've accepted myself and said, okay, well, you know what, this I'm not good at, this I am good at, right? I've learned to then have the confidence and sense of self-worth that I started picking and choosing who I allow into my energy. Because before, it was anybody that gave me the time of the day, or had a dream, just whatever. Like, I didn't have boundaries. I didn't have rules that I would allow, and I didn't have an idea of what I would allow and wouldn't allow. So I didn't stand for anything. So I fell for everything, and that's a horrible position to be in. But I lived there for a long time, and I was very accepting of that. I touched on it briefly yesterday. Like the fact that my rock bottom this time was actual mental and spiritual was the most amazing thing for me, because it meant I was truly ready to make changes. It wasn't that I'd run out of run out of rope or run out of sidewalk to run in. No, I decided this is wrong and I can't continue to do this before it's too late. Let me turn myself over and invite a power greater than myself into my life. The results have been nothing shy of miraculous. And so now I look at myself in a completely different light, guys. It was disgusting the way I felt about myself. Nobody should have to feel that way. And then, not that I think I'm better. And again, that's the beauty of it, guys. By following this program, I understand. Rather than being isolated and being the exception to every rule, I'm just like everybody else. I have attributes that are good, and I have attributes that are bad. I have strengths, I have weaknesses, I have fears, and I have courage. Like I'm human. And as I go out, and now I'm able to be honest with people and speak openly and honestly about how I feel. I have the courage of my convictions. So if I disagree with somebody, I'm not going to jam it down their throat. I'm not going to threaten them. But unless it's going to hurt them in some way, if it's insignificant, it's going to hurt somebody, just let it go, because it's not that important to me to be right. It's more important to be kind and compassionate. Now I choose to lead from a place of kindness and compassion. I try to do things that make a difference in my community. When I'm facing a set of possibilities or choices, I choose for the greatest impact, whether it's for myself, financially, mentally, spiritually, physically, or the community around me. And I do a lot of things that necessarily could go either way for me, but it might help somebody else out. And I'm happy to do those things because I understand that brings more positivity, and it's been proven to me. I did a couple of extra things for my friend, my recovery advisor, my recovery coach in her program to help her with her year-end metrics and let them know that I was supporting the program. And in doing so, somebody saw the video that I made talking about the recovery and the help that I've gotten from them. And boom, next thing you know, I end up with a scholarship to go take Harvard courses online at Harvard to better myself. It's not something I was going for. I still crack up every time I realize I'm doing it. But that's the proof in the pudding, that when you just do things in blind faith, that things get better and opportunities present themselves. But in order to do that, guys, we have to learn who we really are, accept who we really are, and realize that we're just like everybody else. We have good points and bad points. We're positive and we're negative. We're human, right? And then you can let good people into your life. And if you're letting a lot more bad people into your life, it's because you have insecurities that you haven't acknowledged and haven't started working on yet, and things aren't going to get better because you can't soar like an eagle if you're surrounded by turkeys, right? And that's a saying I haven't heard in years, and I love it very much. Guys, self-acceptance is not just a beautiful thing. It's incredibly important. If we don't accept ourselves, who we truly are, we can't grow. We can't acknowledge what we're doing. We can't start doing better things. We can't allow good people into our lives. And we can't present the real us to the world. Every one of us has beautiful gifts that this world needs. And we're depriving ourselves and everything around us, the community at large, life in general, if we don't just accept the truth of who we are and then just try to do the best we can with what we have. And you don't need any more than that. You are capable of absolutely anything you set your mind to if you work within the proper parameters. And self-acceptance is number one. Guys, that's a video for today. Thank you so much for being here with me. Always remember, God loves you. I love you. We'll see you in the next one.